Part 6. 23 Study Points. Question. May I have any brief aphorisms or statements which I can register and study, which will help to progress on the Sufi path? Answer. If you are not a viable unit in the ordinary world, you will not become one elsewhere. If you have a poor capacity for making human contacts, we cannot offer you the substitute of a community where we understand one another. That belongs to play life, what some, of course, generally call real life. If you are accustomed to being supported and kept going by social, psychological, and other pressures in the everyday world, there is a sense in which you do not really exist at all. The people who collapse in the often unpressured dervish atmosphere and who slack, become tiresome to others, or seek to attract and obtain attention, they will fall to pieces, and one cannot help them. Try to remember, and if you cannot remember, try to become familiar with this idea. Lots of people who imagine that they are with us because they are physically present, or because by the ordinary tests, feelings of loyalty, indoctrination, are ostensibly present, lots of those people are not effectively here at all. If you are one of those people, there is nothing we can do for you. If you are like an ordinary person, that is, if you have the tendency to be here only for limited and primitive amusement, but have it only as a tendency and not a way of life, then we can perhaps make some progress. Remember that the human being is so intensely standardized that an outside observer, noting his reactions to various stimuli, need not infer an individual controlling brain in each person. He would be more likely to infer the existence of a separate outside brain and the people as mere manifestors of its will. Register the fact that virtually all organizations known to you work largely by means of your greed. They attract you because what they say or do appeals to your greed. This is concealed only by their appearance. If you stop listening to their words and look at the effect, you will soon see it. Remember that greed includes greed for being not greedy. So if someone says, "Do not be greedy, be generous," you may inwardly interpret this in such a manner that you will develop a greed for generosity. This, however, remains greed. There are some things which you have to do for yourself. These include familiarizing yourself with study materials given to you. You can only really do this, and thus acquire real qualities, if you suspend the indulgence of desire for immediate satisfactions. All members of contemporary societies, with few exceptions, are in need of graduating from primitive morality to a higher one. The primitive one is the one which tells you, like a child, that honesty will make you happy, make you successful, get you to higher things. Honesty, you may now be informed, is essential as an instrument, not to be worshipped as a seldom attained emotion-loaded ideal. Sufis have their own methods of deterring unsuitable people. You may only know one or two ways. Pay attention to the techniques which, for instance, deter by compelling people to conclude that Sufis are worthless. What you may take to be attractive, or even spread out by us to be attractive to you, may well not be intended in this manner at all. That which attracts you or others about us may be that which is laid down by us as a tool which enables us to regard you or others as unsuitable. One can give or withhold in a manner far more effective, sophisticated, useful, which is quite invisible to people who think that giving or withholding is done by external assessment. If you seek some mark of favor or promotion, know that you are not ready for it. Progress comes through capacity to learn and is irresistible. Nobody can stand between you and knowledge if you are fit for it. Anybody or anything may stand between you and knowledge if you are unfit for it. You can learn more in half an hour's direct contact with a source of knowledge, no matter the apparent reason for the contact or the subject of the transaction, than you can in years of formal effort. You can learn and equip yourself with latent knowledge, whose development comes at a later stage. Only those who insist upon instant attention want anything else. The role of the teacher is to provoke capacity in the student, to provide what there is when it will be useful, to guide him towards progress. It is not to impress, to give an impression of virtue, power, importance, general information, knowledge, or anything else. Systematic study or behavior is valuable when it is of use. When it is not, it can be poisonous. Those who seek consistency as a major factor, in people or in study materials, are seeking system at a stage where it is not indicated. Children and savages do this when they ask for information which will explain or make possible everything. Consistency is, however, on offer from those people whose business it is to offer comfort and reassurance as objectives. If you seek illumination or understanding when what you really need is information or rest from pressures, you will get none of these things. If you know what you want, you should go and get it. If you carry the habit of judging things into an area where it does not apply, you will judge in a manner which will not correspond with your needs. You cannot work on a higher level entirely with the concepts, language, and experiences of a lower level. Higher level work is in a combination of manners and relationships. The ultimate absurdity, incapacitating from real learning beyond the stage you have reached, is to imagine that one thing is another. If you think that a book is a sandwich, you may try to eat it, and will not be able to learn what a book can teach. If, too, you imagine that you are being open, or working, or eager to learn when you are only playing a social game, you will learn nothing. The people who refuse to play that game with you will also, of course, sooner or later annoy you. Human organizations can take two forms: entities which are set up to express or attain the aspirations of their members, and those which exist in order to acquire or provide something which is needed. Wants and needs are not the same. The difference is in information. If people know what they need, they do not have to confuse wants with needs. If you do not know already the difference between opinion and fact, you can study it in the daily and weekly newspapers.